Have you ever woken up at exactly 3 a.m. and found yourself staring at the ceiling, wondering why you're awake? You know, that moment when everything is silent and the world around you seems still, but your mind is racing? It's as if something is calling to you, and you can't shake the feeling that there's more to it than just a random disruption to your sleep. But is it really just a coincidence? Or could there be something much deeper behind it? You're not alone if you've had this experience. Many people have woken up at this exact hour, and today, we're going to explore why this happens. What if I told you there's a spiritual significance behind this waking hour, one that you might have never considered? This isn't just another sleepless night or random disturbance. As we dive into this, I want you to take a moment and reflect. Have you ever had one of those nights when you woke up around 3 a.m., sat there, and wondered, what's going on here? Maybe you felt something, a stirring in your heart or a sense of urgency, like you were being called to do something important. Well, this video is going to answer that very question. You might think it's just your body's internal clock, or perhaps stress messing with your sleep cycle. But what if there's more to it? What if God is trying to speak to you in that stillness? Together, let's uncover the profound reasons behind this divine timing and explore how to make the most of these early morning awakenings. Stick with me as we reveal the truth behind those early hours when you wake up at exactly 3 a.m. and why it might be your most significant moment of the day. The time between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. is often referred to as the hour of the gods, a time that has intrigued spiritual seekers for centuries. It's believed to be the moment when the veil between the physical world and the spiritual realm is at its thinnest. During these hours, there's an unusual stillness, a kind of quiet that makes it easier to tune into a higher frequency, to sense something beyond the ordinary. Whether you felt this yourself or heard others talk about it, there's something undeniably significant about this hour that makes it stand out. In many spiritual traditions, this time is seen as a sacred opportunity for connection with God. It's a moment when our consciousness is more attuned to divine messages. It's said that at 3 a.m., our souls are more open to receiving guidance. The world is quiet, the distractions are minimal, and it's just you, your thoughts, and your spirit. For many, this time isn't just about being awake in the night. It's about being spiritually awake, too. But is there a more scientific explanation for why this time feels different? Well, there's actually a fascinating link between this mysterious hour and the way our brains work. Around 3 a.m., our bodies enter a phase of deep REM sleep, rapid eye movement. This is the stage where our minds are most active, even though our bodies remain in a restful state. Our dreams are more vivid during this time, and our subconscious mind is actively processing emotions, memories, and experiences. In essence, during REM sleep, our brains are more open and engaged, allowing us to access deeper layers of thought. Now, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with my connection to God? Well, this is where the magic happens. The heightened activity in your subconscious makes this the perfect moment for God to speak to you. At this hour, your mind is open, your spirit is receptive, and you may be more sensitive to spiritual guidance. Whether it's a subtle nudge or a powerful sense of clarity, God could be trying to communicate with you during this time. Your mind, in its most alert and responsive state, could be the perfect vessel to receive divine messages. So, what if the reason you're waking up at 3 a.m. isn't just random? What if it's God calling you to pause and listen? This could be the very moment when divine wisdom is trying to break through, inviting you to connect in a way that only this hour can allow. Let's explore how to use this time wisely, to open ourselves to what God might be trying to reveal to us. There's an ancient belief that the hour between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. holds a unique power. It's said that during this time, the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds is at its thinnest. What does that mean exactly? Well, Imagine the boundary between the seen and the unseen becoming less dense, almost as if it's easier to reach out and touch the divine. This moment, quiet and sacred, presents an opportunity for direct communication, where the world around you seems still and your soul is more receptive than usual. In these precious moments of the night, when everything around you is calm, you're more likely to feel the presence of something beyond the ordinary. Have you ever felt that strange sense of peace or clarity when waking up at 3 a.m.? That could be a signal that your spirit is more attuned to divine messages. The distractions of the day are gone, and you are left in a space where your soul is wide open, ready to listen and receive guidance. This isn't just the mind at rest. It's the spirit being in tune with something higher. Many people who have experienced this moment often describe it as a time when they are flooded with a sense of clarity and insight. One woman, a close friend of mine, shared a deeply personal story about her experience during this exact hour. She had been struggling with a major decision in her life, unsure whether to take a new job offer or stay in her current role. One night, she woke up at 3 a.m., unable to fall back asleep. Instead of feeling frustrated, she felt an overwhelming peace wash over her. As she lay there in the silence, she began to pray, asking for clarity on her decision. In that stillness, she had an unexpected sense of understanding. It wasn't an audible voice, but a deep knowing in her heart that the job offer was the right path for her. Within minutes, the uncertainty that had plagued her for weeks disappeared, and she was filled with a quiet confidence. What happened to her that night isn't rare. For many, 3 a.m. serves as a sacred hour when the soul is most receptive to divine guidance. At this time, you're not simply awake. Your heart and mind are primed to receive spiritual wisdom. Whether it's a deep inner knowing, a feeling of peace, or an idea that suddenly seems clear, this time opens you to something profound. It's as if your spirit is momentarily aligned with a higher purpose, giving you a sense of direction or understanding that wasn't available before. Have you ever experienced this? That deep sense of knowing, almost like the answers you've been searching for were there all along, just waiting for the quiet of the night to reveal them? This is what happens when your soul becomes attuned to God's voice, even in the most subtle ways. The 3 a.m. hour could be your moment of clarity, your divine calling to trust the path you're on or to seek the guidance you've been praying for. And the best part? It's available to you every time you find yourself awake in those sacred early hours. The next time you wake up at 3 a.m., don't just dismiss it as another restless night. Don't roll over and try to fall back asleep, thinking it's nothing more than a random interruption. This moment is special. It's a wake-up call not just for your body, but for your spirit. There's a reason you're being stirred from your rest, and instead of resisting it, consider embracing it as a divine opportunity. This is your time to connect with God in a way that's often hard to do during the busyness of the day. In the stillness of the night, when everything is quiet, it's easier to hear His voice, to sense His presence, and to experience His guidance. At 3 a.m., your mind is less cluttered by the distractions of life, and your soul is more receptive. So, rather than lying there wondering why you're awake, take action. Start by praying or meditating. Prayer at this time is different from a quick, hurried prayer before rushing out the door. It's an intimate, quiet conversation with God, one that allows you to be fully present and open. Speak to God from your heart. Share your worries, your hopes, your desires, and simply ask for clarity. Ask Him to speak to you, to guide you, and to reveal His will for your life. This is a sacred space where you can pour out your thoughts without interruptions, where you can listen deeply for His response. Meditation, too, can be incredibly powerful at this hour. In the stillness, take a few moments to center yourself, breathe deeply, and invite God's peace to fill your heart. Allow the quiet to wash over you, creating a space for divine insight and spiritual clarity. As you sit in the silence, your mind will naturally begin to focus on what's most important: your relationship with God, your life's direction, and the questions or concerns you've been carrying. Another powerful practice during these moments is journaling. If you find that you're awake with thoughts racing through your mind, try reaching for a notebook and pen. Don't overthink it. Just write whatever comes to mind. You may be surprised by what pours out of you, whether it's a dream, a feeling, a concern, or a vision. This is an opportunity to capture insights that may have otherwise slipped away as the day unfolds. Writing helps ground you in the moment and gives you the space to reflect on the deeper thoughts and feelings that may be bubbling up from your subconscious. And remember, this is your moment to ask God for guidance. If there's something specific you're struggling with, whether it's a decision you need to make, a relationship you're questioning, or a direction you need to take, this is the time to ask for clarity. God may not always answer in the way you expect, but in these quiet, sacred hours, you're opening yourself up to hear Him more clearly. He might speak to you in a still, small voice, in the peace that settles over you, or through the thoughts and feelings that arise during your prayer or meditation. This is the moment when you can surrender your concerns to God and trust that He will provide the answers, the comfort, or the direction that you need. Throughout the Bible, we see that some of the most significant moments of divine intervention happen at night, often during times when individuals are awake or struggling in the stillness of the dark. These stories hold powerful lessons for us, especially when we find ourselves awake at 3 a.m. and wondering why. Take Joseph, for example. His story is one of the most profound instances of receiving guidance in the middle of the night. In the midst of his confusion and turmoil, Joseph received dreams that changed the course of his life. When he was uncertain about marrying Mary after discovering her pregnancy, an angel appeared to him in a dream during the night, providing him with the clarity he needed. The message was clear: do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for the child conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. This divine intervention didn't come during the daytime when things were calm. It came at night when Joseph was troubled, seeking answers. And he listened. He obeyed. His willingness to accept that message brought him to the path that God had already laid out for him. Just like Joseph, we too might find ourselves awake in the dead of night, struggling with decisions or uncertainties. We may feel overwhelmed by the world around us. But if we open ourselves to prayer and reflection, God can speak to us in those quiet, still moments. Joseph's obedience teaches us that when we seek God in times of confusion or fear, He will guide us and provide the answers we need. Then there's Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. The moment He spent in prayer in the garden is one of the most intense examples of surrender and connection with God during the darkest hours. It was just before His arrest, and the weight of what was to come, His betrayal, suffering, and death, was overwhelming. In that quiet garden, in the dark of night, Jesus knelt and prayed with all His heart. "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." This powerful act of surrender at such a pivotal moment is a reminder of the strength that comes from submitting to God's will, especially when we are in our most vulnerable state. Jesus didn't retreat or shy away from the overwhelming emotions that came with the looming cross. Instead, He leaned into God in the stillness of the night, in the quiet of His heart. His prayer was one of complete surrender, choosing God's will over His own. This teaches us that when we wake up at 3 a.m., burdened or uncertain, it's not a time to resist or ignore our feelings. It's a time to surrender, to connect deeply with God, and trust that He has a plan, even when we don't fully understand it. Just like Joseph and Jesus, we are called to use our moments of stillness, especially when we wake up at 3 a.m., to reflect, seek God, and trust His guidance. This is a time for us to ask, what do I need to learn in this moment? It's an invitation to pause, listen, and let go of our worries, just as Jesus did in Gethsemane. These biblical examples remind us that sometimes, in the quietest hours of the night, God's voice is loudest. When we are still, we are most able to hear Him. For those of you who have found yourself awake at 3 a.m., this is your opportunity to reflect deeply on the things that matter most. Take a moment to pray, to seek divine guidance, and to trust that God is with you, guiding you just as He guided Joseph and Jesus. These moments of spiritual connection, when you feel most vulnerable, can turn into the most transformative times in your life if you allow God to speak to you. There's a fascinating scientific explanation behind why waking up at 3 a.m. feels so significant, and it ties directly into the concept of REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. This phase of sleep is the time when our minds are at their most active, even though our bodies are still at rest. During REM sleep, our brains are busy processing emotions, sorting through memories, and solving problems. Essentially, our subconscious mind is working overtime. It's also when our dreams are most vivid, sometimes feeling so real that we wake up with a lingering sense of their meaning or impact. Now, why does this matter in the context of divine communication? When we wake up at 3 a.m., we're not just emerging from sleep, we're coming out of the most active phase of our sleep cycle. This is when your subconscious is wide open and your mind is particularly receptive. Your thoughts, feelings, and emotions are at the surface, making this an ideal time for spiritual experiences. In a way, it's like a bridge between the conscious and subconscious worlds, and it's during these hours that God can reach you with clarity, guidance, and answers. Think of it this way. God might be using this time to communicate with you because your subconscious is wide open, free of the clutter and distractions of the day. Your spirit is more attuned to what's deeper within you, and as you lie there awake, you may find that your heart is more open to hearing the voice of God. It's not a coincidence that this particular hour is when you are most aware of your inner thoughts, dreams, and reflections. This moment can become a gateway for God's calling, where the answers or insights you've been searching for seem to emerge naturally from within. Now, let's look at the power of the 3 a.m. awakening. This is not just a moment of physical wakefulness, but an emotional and spiritual awakening too. It's a time filled with a unique energy, a stillness in the world around you, and a heightened sense of awareness in your spirit. This is when your emotions and your soul are open, and it offers a chance for transformation. Think about it. In that quiet, often solitary space, you have an opportunity to confront the things that weigh heavily on you, to reflect deeply on your life, and to seek clarity from God. You might be feeling unsure, overwhelmed, or just plain confused about a situation. But know this, you are not alone in this experience. Waking up at 3 a.m. is not a random occurrence, and there is purpose behind it. God could be using this time to speak directly to you, to guide you toward peace, or to reveal something that needs your attention. You can trust that, even in the middle of the night, there is divine intention behind this awakening. So, what should you focus on during these sacred hours? First, consider turning to prayer. Prayer in this moment is powerful because you're not rushing through your day's to-do list. You're fully present with God. Ask for guidance, for wisdom, and for clarity on whatever decision or path you're currently navigating. This time is perfect for opening up to God, allowing His presence to surround you in the quiet of the night. If you're struggling with a decision or facing an uncertain future, this is a moment to invite divine direction into your life. Alternatively, use this time for self-reflection. Reflect on your day, your choices, and how you're feeling. Are there areas of your life that need healing? Are you feeling lost or uncertain about your purpose? The stillness of the night can allow you to truly hear your heart, and through that, discern what's most important. It's also a great time to ask God for peace, especially if you've been carrying burdens or confusion. Let this time be one of seeking clarity and calm. And if you're facing a particularly challenging decision, this moment could be key to gaining insight into the next steps. What decisions have you been putting off? Are there paths you've been considering but unsure which direction to take? Ask God for the wisdom to move forward with confidence. Whether you find this time calling you to pray, reflect, or simply sit in the quiet with God, this hour is a divine opportunity to embrace transformation, clarity, and guidance. Waking up at 3 a.m. isn't just a disruption to your sleep cycle. It's an invitation to connect with God in a deeper, more meaningful way. There are countless stories of people who have experienced profound awakenings at 3 a.m., moments that forever altered the course of their lives. One such story comes from a man named Mark, who was struggling with a deep sense of uncertainty about his career. He had been debating whether to leave his stable job to pursue his true passion, but he couldn't find the clarity he needed. One night, around 3 a.m., he woke up unexpectedly. He felt a sense of peace that he hadn't experienced in months. He decided to pray and asked God for guidance. In that quiet moment, a thought came to him, clear and strong, that he needed to take a leap of faith. The very next day, he made the decision to follow his passion, and that decision led him to a more fulfilling career path, one he never would have imagined for himself. Then there's Sarah, who had been facing a difficult season in her life. She had lost a loved one, and the grief was overwhelming. One night, she woke up at 3 a.m. and felt an intense need to pray. She didn't know what to say at first, but she started to speak from her heart. As she prayed, a sense of comfort washed over her, and she felt a deep connection to God. That early morning prayer marked a turning point in her healing process. It wasn't that the pain immediately disappeared, but she felt a shift, a sense that she wasn't alone in her grief. God's presence was there, offering her peace when she needed it most. These stories are just a glimpse into the transformative power of waking up during the early hours of the morning. Whether it's clarity on a decision, peace in the midst of pain, or simply feeling God's presence in a way that's hard to describe, there's something profoundly spiritual about these awakenings. I know many of you have had similar experiences. Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. and felt like something bigger was at play? Perhaps you've had a moment where everything shifted in your heart, or you received guidance that you didn't expect. If you've had an experience like this, I encourage you to share your story in the comments. Your journey could inspire someone else who is going through a similar time. Now, how can you make the most of these powerful moments when you wake up in the middle of the night? First, consider setting up a quiet space for prayer or meditation. Having a place where you can be still, away from distractions, allows you to fully immerse yourself in the experience. Whether it's a quiet corner in your room or a small altar where you can focus, make it a peaceful sanctuary where you can connect with God without interruption. Next, make it a habit to journal any thoughts, dreams, or spiritual insights you have during these moments. Writing down what you experience can help you process the information and reflect on it later. You might be surprised by the clarity or wisdom that comes through once you've had time to read back over your notes. Journaling also helps you keep track of patterns, whether it's repeated themes or answers to prayers, that can guide you in your spiritual growth. Finally, take a moment to pause and connect with God through deep prayer or reflection. This isn't about rushing through a quick prayer before going back to sleep. It's about truly engaging in the conversation with God, asking for His guidance, seeking peace, and allowing space for His voice to reach you. Whether it's just 5 minutes or longer, make it count. This is your time to surrender your thoughts and worries, to listen to God's voice, and to invite His presence into your life. As we come to the end of this time together, let's close with a short but powerful prayer. Father, in this quiet moment, I come to you seeking your peace and guidance. Thank you for the stillness of this hour, for the opportunity to connect with you when the world around me is silent. Please give me clarity in my decisions, peace in my heart, and strength for the path ahead. Help me to trust you more fully and to follow the guidance you've already placed in my heart. Thank you for being with me in the quiet moments and for always speaking to me, even when I don't expect it. Amen. The next time you wake up at 3 a.m., I encourage you to embrace it. Use that moment to connect with God, reflect on your life, and seek guidance. And don't forget to leave a comment below with your own experiences or thoughts about your 3 a.m. awakenings. If this video resonated with you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Together, let's continue to explore these sacred moments and learn how we can grow spiritually in the quietest hours of the night.